Have you ever had a conversation with Priyanka about this?
Yeah, we chat sometimes, like we text sometimes, and I'll hopefully see her when I'm in town next. And nothing but mad respect for her.
Absolutely.
And that respect is beyond being Indian as a human being. She's a genuinely inspiring human being. Nobody should do stand-up comedy. It's an insane profession. To go and tell all your problems to strangers and hope that you will feel better about them. It's an insane profession. My entire career, good or bad, is only cult movies. If you think about it. They're either extremely loved and cultish or extremely hated and cultish. But I don't do any middle ground acting work. What I'm proud of is I've done maybe 23 of the 25 countries without check-in luggage. So I'm a bit of a minimalist in terms of just clothes. So I have this, and I have like 5 other t-shirts that I wear. And I have one chota bag, and that goes. So I have 0 check-in luggage anywhere in the world.
That's amazing.
You know how many hours you save if you go to 25 countries without check-in luggage? Not waiting at the airport, no customs. You can save days of time. Imagine your year is, you spent 183 days traveling. Usme se 4 days, if you add it up, is just waiting at a conveyor belt for your luggage. It's very hard to tell what an actor's fan base is. Because it's also a very fickle thing. It goes up and down. It's not measurable. Our fan base is data, monetizable, measurable, actionable. Madam, I've done about 5.
That's why I'm asking you.
But there are things that you do on the way to doing the things that you want to do.
Why did you do them?
Because how do you get your name out there earlier on? There was no Netflix when I started doing movies. There's no Amazon. So you had to find some producer who would believe in you and give you some role in his film. That then had to have a marketing agency and PR and theatres and all of that stuff, so that people could go and see a movie, so that someday they would come and see you do stand-up comedy. Because there was no YouTube, there was no Netflix. There's nothing anyone can say about me that is worse than the things I've said about myself on stage.
So that's the best thing, I think.
If you come to my show, 30% of the time I will make fun of the world. 70% of the time I'm making fun of myself. I'm calling myself an idiot and a moron. You watch Landing, it's very humiliating to me. Lots of horrible things happen to me in the show.
Has there been any FIRs post this?
No FIRs post this or pre this. They're complaints, but touchwood no FIRs so far.
That's great. That's an achievement, I think.
Yeah, I think so. In today's India, that's definitely a great achievement. So yeah.
Hello everyone, welcome to News 18 Showsha, and today I have with me the funny man Veer Das, who likes to call himself the second global Indian after Priyanka Chopra.
I don't call myself anything. I call myself a moron. Somebody said, you're a global Indian, and I'm like, no, she's a global Indian. I don't call myself anything but an idiot. So.
All right. We can't call you that. Okay. But, we have been...
Well, some people in your channel have, but that's another...
That's not us.
Don't worry.
Not guilty. Okay. We have been chasing you, like I said, for the longest time, but you were too busy traveling. Correct me if I'm wrong, 35 countries?
25 countries.
25 countries doing 183 shows.
183 shows.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was great. It led to the show that we're talking about, the shows about traveling the world and kind of the feeling of home. But it's been great. I've done everything from big stadiums with many thousands of people to basements with 50 people. In different areas of the world. So it's a privilege. I'd spent most of the pandemic acting, and then I hadn't toured in 3 years. So I just kind of decided in 2022 I'll take 8 months of my life and I will tour. So did that.
That's lovely. Living the life.
Yeah, living a life. I don't know what the life is. I don't think about the life.
Listen, everybody wants to do this, but we can't.
Everybody wants to do stand-up comedy?
No, travel.
Travel. Nobody should do stand-up comedy. It's an insane profession. To go and tell all your problems to strangers and hope that you will feel better about them. It's an insane profession.
Well, you bring so much joy to all of us.
Touchwood, that is a privilege. But the traveling is also a little bit... Stand-up comedy wala traveling is very different from traveling.
I can imagine.
Wanderlust nahi hai. Mera airport, hotel, potty, khana, show, airport, hotel. That is my...
So literally living off a suitcase.
What I'm proud of is I've done maybe 23 of the 25 countries without check-in luggage. So I'm a bit of a minimalist in terms of just clothes. So I have this, and I have like 5 other t-shirts that I wear. And I have one chota bag, and that goes. So I have 0 check-in luggage anywhere in the world.
That's amazing.
How many hours you save if you go to 25 countries without check-in luggage? Not waiting at the airport, no customs. You can save days of time. Imagine your year is, you spent 183 days traveling. उसमें से 4 दिन, if you add it up, is just waiting at a conveyor belt for your luggage.
No, that's true. That's true. I agree with you. Well, let's talk about landing.
Yes, please.
And the reviews have been amazing.
Touch wood. It's been very kind.
Are you somebody who reads reviews
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
very religiously?
Yeah, I'll not value them as much as I'll value audience feedback or actual consumer feedback, because a lot of times I feel like reviewers watch so much that lines get crossed in terms of, this week they've watched a film and a series and a documentary and a stand-up comedy thing, right?
That's right.
So sometimes their review can be broader. But I feel like from an audience that likes to watch stand-up, the review is very specific. It's like, I like this, I didn't like this, work on that. But I'll always intake feedback, for sure, good and bad.
Has there been any FIRs post this?
No FIRs post this or pre this. There are complaints, but touch wood, no FIRs so far.
That's great. That's an achievement, I think.
Yeah, I think so. In today's India, that's definitely a great achievement. So yeah, for sure.
Veer, you said in an interview that you feel like a perpetual outsider.
Yeah.
Why so? Because of the very global upbringing that you have had?
I mean, yeah, I think so. I grew up in Africa where I was an Indian. Then I went to India where I was a guy from Africa.
Yeah.
Then I went to Delhi University where I was the guy from. I went to a cool college in Delhi University.
Which one was that?
Venki, South Campus.
Venki, I was from IPCW.
But then I was from DPS Noida. Not a very cool school. I think it's a cool school. Then I went to the US where I was the guy from Venki.
Yeah.
Then I came back to Bollywood where I was the guy from the US.
Yeah.
And now I work in Hollywood where I'm the guy from Bollywood, right? So it's a perpetual outsider cycle. But I think that what that means is you don't get lost inside one particular bubble. So you're able to sometimes take the best from an industry without the industry taking the best from you.
Yeah.
Is the way I view it.
That's right. You also said that if I am put in a room full of people who have had their own Netflix specials, I'll go up to them and take their autographs.
Yeah, I think so.
Tell me a few names.
But, there aren't that many comedians who have had 4 Netflix specials. So they would be
Ricky
like...
Gervais.
Dave Chappelle, I think, has had 4.
Yeah.
Kevin Hart has had 4. Maybe Ali Wong has had 4, or Amy Schumer has had 4. So, I'm 16 years into comedy, and they say that you don't find your voice in comedy till you're 20 years in. So all of these people are 25, 30 years into their stand-up career. So Netflix specials or not, I would take their autograph for sure. I definitely take a selfie, that's for sure.
Are you a fanboy then of anybody in particular?
I'm a fanboy of Johnny Lever.
Eternal.
30 years in. If you go and see him today, it's the peak of his abilities. I like Dave Chappelle. I like Zakir. I like Aditi Mittal.
Yeah.
I just love stand-ups. I love comedy.
Yeah. So Veer, there's this really interesting tweet I remember. I forgot, I'm sorry, when this was, but you said, all the problem is going to come to an end when we are going to accept that stand-up comedy is an art and not an opinion.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's... did I say that? It's a very good tweet. I don't think... It sounds very wise.
It is.
Yeah, for sure.
So, where do you think today we stand? Has it gone downhill?
I don't think it's gone downhill, but it's definitely a plateau. It's not gone uphill either. हम लोनावला में अभी एवरेस्ट या कुछ पहुंचा नहीं है, लेकिन अभी कोई वैली ग्रैंड कैनियन में पहुंची नहीं है. We are in लोनावला. But I do think that's true. Stand-up only begins with a truth which is a common point to say we both know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And then my job is to go to the ridiculous. So just because we both know what I'm talking about doesn't mean that, I believe what I'm saying or that you need to believe what I'm saying, etc. It just means we both know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I would want to talk a little bit about why haven't we seen you in too many films, apart from the fact that, of course, you're busy, with your shows.
Yeah.
Is there any other reason?
I think I figured out a while ago saying if I'm going to act in something, it has to justify why it was me in that role.
Yeah.
I think there's no shortage of leading men, there's no shortage of funny people in the industry, but I think I come with a certain fan base and a certain persona, and a very recognizable persona in terms of my off-screen image is the most recognizable image of me.
Yeah.
Most actors don't have that problem.
That's right.
So the most visible Arjun will be, or Rajkumar will be when they are on the screen and you recognize that their work. And if God is kind, that will happen for them 3, 4, 5 times a year. They'll have movies out. The most visible I am is every week through clips and YouTube. So you know who I am. Because it's through stand-up comedy. So you're consuming me a lot more in the year. So therefore, any role that I do has to be such a departure from who I am, so that it doesn't remind you of something that you're consuming every 3 days or every 4 days. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely.
You know, so I just get consumed a lot more. So then you have to pace yourself a little bit. So whether it's the next 3 projects that I'm doing, they're all a serious departure from this comedian image that I have. And I have to work doubly hard so that I don't remind you of the stand-up comedian. You know, sometimes in a rom-com, like, a hero just gets to be a hero. Yeah, I'm a guy, you know what I mean? And I'm very similar to who I am off screen because nobody knows who you are off screen. Everybody knows who I am. Everybody that's watching me knows who I am off screen. So
that's also a curse, do you believe, sometimes?
No, I'm very blessed, The fact that I'm even able to be on screen. I'm 5'8" from DPS Noida. I know nobody in Bollywood ek suitcase ke saath aaya. The fact that I'm even able to be on screen is a privilege. So that's not this thing. There's no curses in my life.
But tell me something honestly. Have you ever had to do a comedy film in Hindi cinema where you really did not, where you know it didn't align with your sensibilities?
Madam, I've done about 5.
That's why I'm asking you.
But there are things that you do on the way to doing the things that you want to do. You know?
Why did you do them?
Because how do you get your name out there earlier on? There was no Netflix when I started doing movies. There's no Amazon. So you had to find some producer who would believe in you and give you some role in his film. That then had to have a marketing agency and PR and theatres and all of that stuff so that people could go and see a movie so that someday they would come and see you do stand-up comedy. Because there was no YouTube, there was no Netflix. Now I can just, now I own my fan base, I'm directly in touch with my fan base, I monetize my fan base, and I bring my fan base to a project with me. That's something, touch wood, even actors don't get to do. You know, actors, between them and their fan, there are 17 middlemen and gatekeepers between them and a fan. A comedian, there's nobody between you and your fan. Which is it's a big privilege. You know?
That it is.
I think you'll notice where a lot of influencers and comedians are finding their way into OTT platforms and to series and all. It's because they recognize these guys come with a sizable fan base. It's very hard to tell what an actor's fan base is. You know, because it's also a very fickle thing. It goes up and down. It's not measurable. Our fan base is data, monetizable, measurable, actionable. You know.
Absolutely. Very well said. That's right. What's happening with Hasmukh?
With Hasmukh, we'll see. I just I just wrapped a series a month ago that I co-ran, co-directed and starred in. So that'll be...
Oh, lovely.
That'll be out on an Indian platform soon. I'm developing an American TV show, which is my own sitcom that I'm starring in. So that'll be out. I have a...
Can you tell us more about
it? It's with Fox and, you know, that news is out. It's called Country Eastern.
Okay.
We're currently writing it. I have an American rom-com that I'll star in soon.
Wow.
And then I think I'll direct a Hindi movie, like a horror movie sometime this year.
That's great.
I think that's enough for the year. It's quite a long year. So
yeah, but you know, I have to ask you something, and everybody wants to know, what's the update on Go Goa Gone 2? On Go Goa Gone 2,
I don't know. I don't have any updates. I have zero updates. I think ek din phone aayega and sab aa jayenge. And that's how it usually happens in an environment like that where everybody likes each other. I think it's easy to, you know.
What a mad film that was.
My entire career, good or bad, is only cult movies. If you think about it, you know. They're either extremely loved and cultish or extremely hated and cultish. But I don't do any middle ground acting work.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at Hasmukh, Delhi Belly, Go Goa Gone, all cult followings. And then if you look at Mastizade and some of the other cult hatred. So that's my career. It's very polarizing.
Veer, I remember, I think this was a couple of years back, there was some news about you and Preeti Zinta coming together.
We did a pilot, we did an episode of Fresh Off the Boat. It was great. Mainly because I got to work with Preeti Zinta. But I think it was an episode and they were exploring the idea of turning it into a TV show. And the powers that be decided to end the Fresh Off the Boat franchise only. Because Fresh Off the Boat was a franchise. So they wanted to do like Fresh Off the Boat, the Indian version, with these two, with me and Preeti opposite each other. But I think they just kind of closed the franchise down. Which fair enough.
Okay.
You know, it gave me a chance to develop my own TV show.
Let's talk a little bit, Veer, about the English language stand-up comedy in our country, because you know largely it's Hindi. You know, because
we have the largest English-speaking audience in the world right now.
That's an irony, you know. And so how do you see it evolving today?
It's great. You know, I think there are between, you could argue there are between 98 or 100 million and 200 million English speakers in India right now. That's a very sizable amount.
Yeah.
It's more than America.
Yeah.
English speakers in our country. So it's a blessed time to be a stand-up comedian. Hindi, the world is your oyster, right? If you put a YouTube video in Hindi doing stand-up, you get 30-40 million views on a YouTube video. अगर आपको 5 million views मिले तो लोग उधर sorry यार अगली बार हो जाएगा. You know what I mean? But for an English comic, if you get 5 million views, that's a very big deal. I think with stand-up, unfortunately or fortunately, success is not very measurable.
Yeah.
You know, you can't measure box office success in stand-up, and you can't measure views either. You have to measure how many times people laugh. Now, there's no way to measure that when they're consuming stand-up, right? So to a comedian, if you define how do you define you were successful, he'll never say or she'll never say I got 20 million views this year. What they'll say is I got a laugh every 8 seconds.
Yeah.
In my show. That's how I measure success. That's how comedian or any real comedian will measure success. Unfortunately, Bollywood people have to measure box office returns.
That's right.
When a platform hires a comedian and says do a comedy special, you know, there's no return. It's just like make people laugh and give us engagement. I do think stand-up comedy provides much higher engagement than most movies.
That's right.
You know, I was telling somebody this the other day. I waited for this time for a very long time, where on Netflix or on Amazon, like Mera Dabba or Akshay Kumar ka Dabba, same size ka Dabba hai. You know what I mean? on the platform,
got
right? And his Dabba costs 100 crores. My Dabba does not cost 100 crores. But we're both just competing for your time.
Amazing, right?
You know, how democratic is that?
Absolutely.
We get the same size Dabba now. And then I get to make you laugh every 8 seconds. You know, so I feel like I can compete.
Yeah. Tell me something, you know, your controversy's favorite child.
Am I?
Yes.
But I think now, controversy is our favorite child. I don't think...
Yeah, it goes both ways, na, Abhi?
The way I always say is, you'll never predict why you come into controversy.
Yeah.
I think every year it becomes harder and harder to predict. You know what I mean? कि क्या controversial है, क्या controversial नहीं है. बस आपका एक हफ्ता आएगा. You will have your 1 week where you're controversial.
Yeah.
And next week is somebody else's week. And then next week is somebody else's week. You just have to get through your week and do your job.
Yeah.
That's it. But I don't think you can predict.
No, of course you can't.
Yeah.
No, what I'm asking is, I would like to believe that you have developed a thick skin over time. Was it always the case? I mean, shuru mein, how did you really deal with it, react to it?
There's nothing anyone can say about me that is worse than the things I've said about myself on stage.
So that's the best thing, I think.
You know, if you come to my show, 30% of the time I will make fun of the world. 70% of the time I'm making fun of myself. I'm calling myself an idiot and a moron. You watch Landing, it's very humiliating to me. Lots of horrible things happen to me in the show.
Yeah.
So that is, it preps you for people saying tough things about you.
Yeah.
You know.
So 183 shows last year, back to back.
Yeah.
Veer, what do you do on a bad day?
I do stand up.
How do you do that?
It's great. I tell this to every journalist who I ever meet. One day, you come up on stage and you see what I can see. You see my view. You think you're looking at a great show. I'm looking at a great show.
Yeah.
You ever see 3,000 people with laughter in their eyes? That's the best show in the world. That's the best view in the world. That is therapy. I do stand up. And if I'm having a bad day, I'll go on stage and I'll get to tell people I'm having a bad day. Here's why I'm having a bad day. My wife is mad at me or something happened, etc. My wife knows. If we have a fight, it's on stage that evening. So I'm telling people. It's therapy.
Yeah. That's a great way to look at it.
Not for her, for me.
For you.
Yeah.
Right. And lastly, this might sound like a loaded question, but I remember Priyanka had come to one of your shows, I think.
Yeah, she came to my show in Los Angeles. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
She called you extremely brave and inspiring.
Yeah.
And you said that, she sort of opened doors for a lot of South Asians there.
She does.
Yeah.
Not did, does. Yeah.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
My question is, now that you are also working, like you said, you're doing an American film there.
Yeah.
She has been working there. How do you think they now respond to Indian talent?
It's very hard. I'm not going to lie. And I think if it was easier, more of us would have cracked it by now.
Yeah.
Not just 5-6 of us would have cracked it. I think with every passing authentic story that is told there,
Yeah.
it opens it up just a little bit. Okay, we are not just taxi drivers and motel owners and hotel owners. We are powerful. We are not all overawed by America or happy to be there.
Right.
We are conflicted.
Yeah.
We are not just always happy model minority immigrants. We can be violent. We can have sex. We can do drugs. We can have emotions about you. We don't just miss home. We have opinions about your home also.
That's right.
With every little this thing, you just open it up a little bit. And then that leads to 2 more opportunities for 2 other scripts. So that's how I view it.
Yeah.
It's not about getting projects. It's about what you say in those projects.
Have you ever had a conversation with Priyanka about this?
Yeah, we chat sometimes, we text sometimes, and I'll hopefully see her when I'm in town next. And nothing but mad respect for her.
Absolutely.
And that respect is beyond being Indian, as a human being. She's a genuinely inspiring human being.
That's right. That's so cool. Well, on that note, Veer, thank you so much for your time, finally.
Yeah.
And
I'm sorry it took this long.
no, that's fine.
Yeah.
All the very best. Looking forward to everything that you have to offer.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Veer Das. You're watching me on News 18 Showsha.